Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now right here on Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr., and no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, I appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. And coming up, really excited to dive into all of this. I'm going to explain how Eagles general manager Howie Roseman pulled off highway robbery on multiple occasions and has the Philadelphia Eagles set up for success for a really long time. Before we take a look at all of that, the most likes that we have gotten on a video so far this month, 841. It actually came a week ago on the August 12th show. Today, can we beat that number? Help me out, hit that thumbs up icon, and like the video right now. So this is a multi-step show for how Howie Roseman's been able to pull off these highway robbery type of maneuvers. And I want to begin with the Jalen Hurts contract. On the surface, Hurts last offseason signed a 5-year, $255 million deal. But Howie Roseman structured this contract beautifully. And the Hurts contract looks as such. 5 years, $255 million, as I mentioned, the average annual value at $51 million per season. He was given $179.39 total guaranteed money, and then the guaranteed money at signing, $110 million even. But when you do a deep dive into this deal, it could end up being a massive steal for Philadelphia, considering the player that Jalen Hurts is, who he can continue to become, what we've seen from him, what he's capable of, and what other lesser quarterbacks are paid across the National Football League. So let's dive into the nitty-gritty nuances here. Jalen Hurts' contract does not count for more than $32 million against the cap until the 2027 season. That leaves Philadelphia with a bevy, a bunch, a plethora of cap space to build up the rest of their roster so that they can continue to field a very talented and competitive team. And for example, when I mentioned some of these other quarterbacks across the league, Jalen Hurts is a steal right now and for the foreseeable future. Whereas Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones, who are not to the level of Jalen Hurts in my opinion, count more than $45 million against the cap for their respective teams with the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. Dak has not had playoff success, and did you watch Daniel Jones over the weekend? 2 awful interceptions. He throws some mind-numbing picks that makes Carson Wentz look like Patrick Mahomes. And then furthermore, when you look at Hurts' cap hits here, last year, he had a cap hit of $6.1 million. In 2024, this year, he only has a cap hit of $13.5 million. If he returns to that 2022 form, that could end up being a bargain and a steal for Philadelphia. Even in 2025, it's so manageable if Hurts can continue to ascend and play at a high level. Cap hit is under $22 million. In 2026, it goes up to 31.77, and then in 2027, there's a potential out here, but the cap hit is $41.83 million, and in 2028, $47.1 million. So when I mention here on the show salary cap gymnastics and maneuvering the salary cap and massaging it, this is what I'm talking about here. There are so many creative ways to create salary cap space for your NFL organization. And keep in mind here that quarterback contracts will continue to skyrocket with the increasing salary cap. When Hurts last offseason, not long ago, signed that contract extension coming off that Super Bowl appearance following the 2022 campaign in which he finished runner-up in NFL MVP voting, he was the highest paid quarterback in the history of the NFL. Here we are a year later. He's already dropped down to the 8th highest paid quarterback in the National Football League as far as average annual value. And of course, I know Hurts has to continue to play well to make this contract a steal, to make it a worthy investment. But we know what he's capable of. How? Why? Because we've seen it. And I think that a rebound season is coming for Jalen Hurts. And when you structure a contract like that, what does it allow you to do? It allows you to hand out big money deals to other premium players across your roster. A.J. Brown is making $32 million per year. DeVonte Smith is making $25 million per year. Jordan Mailata is a top 4 highest paid offensive tackle in the NFL. Landon Dickerson, when he signed his deal at the time, that was the most guaranteed money, I believe, given to a guard in the history of the NFL. AAV of $21 million. Lane Johnson's making a pretty penny. He's the best right tackle in the game. Philadelphia gave out $17 million per year to Bryce Huff. Darius Slay is paid handsomely. Saquon Barkley, we're going to talk about his contract coming up. Dallas Goedert, the 11th highest paid tight end in the NFL. And then James Bradberry was coming off that all-pro season. That's one of the investments that so far has not worked out for Philadelphia. But when you structure the Hurts contract in the manner that Howie Roseman did, it just allows you to invest in other important areas on your roster. Part number 2 of today's show. Let's talk about the Haason Reddick trade. Howie Roseman somehow got back a conditional 3, which could end up being a second rounder for Reddick, and he might not ever play for the New York Jets. Are you kidding me? The Eagles clearly didn't want to bring Haason Reddick back. What they had said and their actions spoke very, very loudly all throughout the offseason. And so Howie Roseman, despite having some pressure to get a deal done, waited and waited and waited. Some people thought he waited too long, but then he flipped Haason Reddick for some really good draft capital. And then what did he do? He sends Haason Reddick to the Jets. He might not play for the Jets. He's looking for a new deal. Hasn't reported to training camp. Regular season quickly approaching. And then Howie Roseman signed away the Jets' best edge rusher from last year in Bryce Huff. That is genius work by the Philadelphia Eagles general manager here. Now, we're only ramping up and getting started on today's show, but a reminder, if you want daily Eagles shows that are informative, insightful, thought-provoking like this show that you're watching right now, hit that subscribe button. My goal is to get to 80,000 subscribers before week 1. Help me get there. Hit that sub button. I promise you, we will not disappoint you with our Eagles coverage right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I'm Chase Sr. More to get to, but got to give a shout out to our friends at GameTime for making today's show possible. This is the only ticketing app that I use, and if you don't have it downloaded for free, by the way, you are making a huge mistake. And if you use the code CHATSPORTS, you get $20 off your first purchase. GameTime has the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed. They specialize in prices dropping as the event gets closer, and you're guaranteed to get the lowest price among all ticketing apps on the GameTime app. If you want to go to the Eagles preseason finale, I am hoping that Nick Sirianni plays his starters, especially on the offensive side of the football. There are still tickets available. All types of different deals, seating options. You want to go to Packers, Eagles in Brazil, tickets available for $731, but that would be a very memorable trip. All types of Eagles tickets available, home and away. I love the views that they give you because you can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. For instance, if you want to sit C25 row 11, you see the price point and the vantage point, only $61. If you want the aerial view of Lincoln Financial Field, you can choose your ticketing options in that manner. Philadelphia Phillies, Citizens Bank Park, best ballpark in Major League Baseball, best environment in Major League Baseball. You want to go to a game? GameTime is the official ticketing marketplace of Major League Baseball and the NFL. So use the code CHATSPORTS. Terms apply. First purchase only. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. So download the GameTime app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS. That's CHATSPORTS. All that information is available for you down in the show notes and attached to the pinned comment of today's Philadelphia Eagles Now. Next up, let's take a gander at the Saquon Barkley contract. And I was talking with producer Chip before the show. Everybody sees these contracts as a 3-year, $37.7 million deal, and they think that is a steep overpay. But That's a lazy take, and that's a casual take in my opinion, because you have to look at the finer details. Yes, it might be a 3-year contract worth nearly $38 million, but when you consider the player that Saquon Barkley is and the weapon that he can be on this team with this offensive line, these complementary weapons, and you were paying a weapon $12.5 million average annual value, that could end up being a bargain. The total guaranteed money, $26 million. Saquon Barkley's cap hits, extremely affordable. If he has nearly 2,000 all-purpose yards this year, like I believe he can, a cap hit of $3.8 million, that could end up being one of the best deals in the entire National Football League. In 2025, his cap hit is only $5.5 million, and the Eagles have a potential out after 2 years of this deal. In 2026, only has a cap hit of $9 million. So in turn, if Saquon Barkley can stay healthy and he can be productive, that is an absolute steal and a home run contract for an elite weapon. I don't necessarily look at Saquon Barkley as just a running back because of everything that he's able to do on the football field. I look at Saquon Barkley as a game changer, and he is a game changer on this offense alongside Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, DeVonte Smith, Dallas Goedert, this offensive line. And Saquon Barkley has never looked around at an offensive unit with this much star power and this much firepower. And in this system, led by Kellen Moore, I think that he can have a masterful 2024 campaign. And if he does at that price tag, Howie Roseman, another highway robbery. And then that takes us to the DeVonte Smith contract. He signed a 3-year, $75 million deal, average annual value checking in at $25 million per season. Total guaranteed money is $51 million. And in an exploding wide receiver market, $25 million per season for DeVonte Smith is also a bargain, also a steal, because DeVonte Smith on a lot of other teams would have number 1 wide receiver targets, number 1 wide receiver production, and he has number 1 wide receiver ability. And when you compare DeVonte Smith to the other highest paid wide receivers per year across the National Football League, he is $10 million less per year than Justin Jefferson, $7 million less than A.J. Brown. He is $5 million less than Amon-Ra St. Brown and Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle, who I think is a lesser player than DeVonte Smith, is making $28 and a quarter. Devontae Adams is 31 years old. He's making $28. DJ Moore is not the complete wide receiver that DeVonte Smith is. He's at 27 and a half. Cooper Kupp is really good with some awesome production, but he's limited as a slot guy. You have DeVonte Smith at 25, and that's just ahead of Nico Collins. So this wide receiver market this offseason has exploded on numerous occasions, and the Eagles were very smart in the way that they went about the DeVonte Smith contract extension because he's still on that rookie deal, and then that contract sets in, and with the wide receiver market, which is going to continue to rise, DeVonte Smith at $25 million per season in the future is a home run payout for Philadelphia, because every year that he's been in the NFL, he's continued to ascend as far as his production, and I think he's only scratching the surface. He's been one of the MVPs during Eagles training camp so far. Now let's flip the page to the early returns of the 2024 draft class. Quinion Mitchell, he might be the best corner in this draft. He might start week 1 against the Packers. Howie Roseman did not have to trade up to take him. He stood pat and got arguably the best corner in the draft with the 22nd overall pick. Cooper DeJean is a versatile Swiss Army knife on the defensive side of the ball. For the first time over the weekend, he was able to partake in team drills, and he was already getting first-team reps and second-team reps at slot corner. Jalix Hunt has shown some serious flashes as an edge rusher throughout training camp and in the preseason. He might be able to impact this defense much earlier than anticipated. Will Shipley looks to be a true and legitimate weapon as a running back for this team. It would surprise me by season's end if he's RB2 ahead of Kenneth Gainwell behind Saquon Barkley. He has looked awesome so far throughout the preseason. And then Johnny Wilson, 6'6" wide receiver, physical freak. He's already getting first-team reps. And when you are able to hit on a lot of draftees in the same draft class, they are cost-controlled assets under contract for 4 to 5 years, and it allows you to stay competitive for a long time because they're cost-controlled assets. Let's next take a look at the Eagles' positional spending. When you think about this Philadelphia Eagles roster, they are one of the most talented teams in the entire NFL. Yet when you break down their positional spending by offensive and defensive unit and by position, look at where the Eagles stack up among 32 teams in the NFL. It is easy to look at this Eagles offense and say, with this amount of skill talent, they have one of the most talented offenses in the NFL. Yet, they are paying their offense at the 21st lowest rate in the NFL among 32 teams. At the quarterback position, Jalen Hurts, the 19th in their quarterback room in general, the 19th highest paid quarterback room in the NFL. Offensive line, 8th. We know that the Eagles like to invest there. I love that team building strategy. Running back, 22nd. With A.J. Brown and DeVonte Smith, 19th highest paid wide receiver room in the NFL. Tight end, 11th. And then to the defense, the entire defense, 17th. Defensive line, 17th. They invest a lot there. Linebacker and safety, 28th and 30th. I actually think that Howie Roseman should invest more resources there. Cornerback, 9th. So that is an in-depth look at how the money is allocated on this Eagles team. And to round this show out, when you have a team-building strategy like this, when you are financially savvy, financially creative, the Philadelphia Eagles can be a competitive team for a really long time because Howie Roseman is a magician with the cap. The people who work under him do a great job being very fiscally creative. Jeffrey Lurie gives him the runway to be aggressive with his spending. Yet even though Howie Roseman is aggressive, he's very intelligent with how he allocates those dollars. I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, feel free to shoot me a message on X or Instagram. Also, in addition to the long-form content that I put out here on YouTube, a lot of short-form content on my social media pages, which have really been blowing up. At Chase_Senior on both. You see the follower counts here to my right. Join the movement. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you next time here on Eagles Now.